Super Dave here with another Super Dave review. Super Dave here with another exciting Masters of the Universe Masterverse new Eternia figure. That's right, this time we are taking a look at Ninjor. This is the first time we've had a Ninjor in this line, and I'm excited that it's new Eternia, and I'm just excited about all that he comes with. He's just looking dynamic here. Just take a look at him. Just awesome figure. His bow there, it looks like. Not sure all that he comes with. I do know he comes with different ways of displaying his face. That's exciting. Look at this. Teased a sorceress. Could we get a new Eternia sorceress that looks like that? Looking awesome. This artwork wraps all the way around to Scare Glow over here. Looking good. And we've got two of him already. But yeah, there is some product shots. Look at the moon in the background. And then Ninjor leaping into action with his bow and his sword. You can see his bow there. You can see, looks like nunchucks with a different face sculpt, as well as another face sculpt with his sword. So yeah, definitely look like he's going to come with some cool stuff here. There is a bio of Ninjor. If you'd like to pause and read that now, you can. And of course, there's the other selling points, and we've reviewed all of these now. You can go check out our Terra Claws Skeletor and our new Eternia She-Ra. And also as a bonus, our Turtles of Grayskull Ninjor. We're going to take a quick look at it. And the only reason I'm doing it is because I want to be able to put this head on my Ninjor, Masterverse Ninjor. And I have to give credit and a shout out to Kenzo's Creation. Check out his profile. He's got an awesome channel because someone had asked him, I think, but he put this head on that Ninjor. I'm like, dog, that looks good. And so we're going to check that out. I was able to get this on a good deal on Amazon. So I'm not a collector of the Turtles of Grayskull per se, but this Ninjor, got to check this head out with this Masterverse Ninjor. So we'll be looking at them, looking at him as well, but you can see his artwork on the back here. That fire-breathing dragon head on this Ninjor. He comes with a comic book. There's the other selling points. The cool thing about this dragon Ninjor is he's got wings too. So we'll see how all that works out. But there he is. But let's go ahead and break open this Ninjor and check him out over here on Eternia. It's dark. It's red. It's right outside of Castle Grayskull. Let's check him out. And here we are in the Valley of Grayskull, where the evil Hordak and Terra Claws Skeletor, as well as some other villains, are here to share this experience of taking a look at Ninjor, both in the Masterverse form and in the Turtles of Grayskull form. And it is Ninjor's accessories that we'll be taking a look at first. And first of all, our Ninjor only comes with one set of hands. And just from the jump here, that is my number one complaint. I feel like that instead of getting just one set of weapon holding hands, and both horizontally hinged at that, not even a vertical hinge, that we should have gotten some karate style type, hands as well. Martial arts kind of hands. That is my biggest complaint. We should have gotten like a whole bunch of red hands that were, in various formats for martial arts. But we didn't. We only got one set of hands, but we did get three type face plates. We got this head sculpt of this ninja head with those red eyes looking awesome under the hood with his mask on the front. Really nice. But then we also get two masks, basically. This devil-looking mask here that he is able to pop in over his face using the hood. And then this almost like a disguise type mask of showing who he is without the mask, maybe the cloth mask, I don't know, but it's definitely pale compared to his skin here. So I don't know if it's really supposed to be him or if it's just a disguise, but either way, we get basically 3 ways of posing him as far as his face. And then he comes with one sword, and that's this silver sword with a red handle. Now this other sword is identical to it, but it came with our other Ninjor with a dragon head, and he came with a neck extension and these 2 wings, and then he came with a comic book, Turtles of Grayskull, Blood of the Dragon, and he came with that cool comic book, mini comic, and then what you see here, because he's got everything including that like dog tag type collar. And then he's got an extension, like I said, and we'll look at him in just a moment, that head. But then our regular Ninjor also came with a arrow. And this is looking really cool with a like dragon head coming off of it here with a pewter almost look, a gunmetal gray or pewter look. But here's one of the things that really surprised me and impressed me. It's not a real chain, because it's not metal, but it is a chain, and I'm really excited about that because we get these translucent handles with these nunchucks and an actual functioning chain instead of a molded just plastic looking chain that would be static. This is actually a chain type, function, but it's just not real metal that I can tell. It feels like it's a plastic, but it's durable. And so I like that. I like that we actually get a functioning one, kind of like Panther in our Thundercats. So that is cool. And then he's got this removable belt piece with the skirt around it here, covering up his new Eternia style belt / loincloth there. And just take a look at these awesome feet. I love these feet. Looks like they're claws with a really nice design to the boots with some horns coming off to the side of the boots. And man, those feet are looking cool. And I like the gunmetal of this skirt too. And then you can see he's got a place it looks like to store his nunchucks, which that is really neat. And of course this really nicely designed chest armor with the dragon with the sword coming through it. That's your normal logo, impressive insignia that is like a crest, I guess, that is always on our Ninjor, that is impressed on there on that armor. And even look at these awesome shoulder armor there with the horns on it. That is just so cool, and it goes even more complex in the back. Just look at that. Isn't that nice? And then it looks like also there's a place to put his sword on his back there, so that's really nice. You can even see like the weaves and the texturing on that hood on the back of his head. So there's a lot of good detail here that I'm just very impressed with. I think that, and then of course it's removable, that you can see like those buckles, but I just think that the shading and just the detail that they put on here, the paint app's really good. And then you can tell that that belt is also removable there. You can see the peg, but it still has the detail. Look at these. I don't know what they are, but just the look of that almost metal looking skirt piece, that even on the back they put some detail, so that's just really neat. And then the black scaly looking loincloth that continues around back here, and even the gloves look really nice. Just look at the design on the gloves. That is really cool. It's got a cool design, like some horns coming off of them as well. So yeah, this guy is just impressive across the board. So let's go ahead and equip his accessories and take a look at him, a closer look at him. All right, so let's bring our Ninjor on in here a little closer. We'll dim these lights just a little bit so you can see him really good. And I'm just impressed across the board with this guy. I really believe that I am going to call it right now that this is my favorite figure in this wave out of the 3. I just really am impressed with this Ninjor. Now let me go ahead and grab this sword. This is the one he comes with, and let's see. Yep, you can just slide that right back there, so he's got a place to store his ninja sword. So that is just really nice. I like the way that looks already. And then look, you even get a place here on the side. Look, it even has that mask indentation there, engraved or indented there in that holster piece that's attached to that belt. And just take a look at this. You can just slide those nunchucks right on down in there and get the chain untangled there so that you can see his nunchucks just fit right on in there. Isn't that awesome? I love that. That is just so cool. Man, I love that design. All right, and then let's go ahead and look at this mask first. And we'll dim the light a little bit so you can see it again here. But just take a look at that. Isn't that neat? So let's go ahead and try that on. So this hood looks like it's going to make it easy. Yeah, it just snaps right on in. Look, it's flush. Do need to dim these lights one more time, but it's flush with the hood, so it fits perfect. That is just so wow. Just look at that. Looks really neat. So, you know, that seems to be a thing in the Orient, is masks anyway. So that makes sense. You know, it's like even wrestlers wear their masks. Is real special. So I guess that's kind of what this is. But just look at that. It's like the indentions on there in that face. Just really nice detail. The whited out eyes just looks really neat. All right, so now let's go ahead and pop that one out and try the second one. This is the one I was really excited to see how if this one goes on just as easy. Because you have to make sure that the eyes, wow, look at that. Perfect. Can you see that? Let me turn up the lights a little bit so you can see that the eyes can be seen right through. You see the eyes, the red eyes working great. Just looking awesome there. You can even see it there. Yeah, you can see the eyes are able to peer through those holes, and it just fits perfect. This hood on this one even kind of comes over a little bit instead of it being exact flush, but you can see how the chin does, and then those little tusks and those silver teeth. Man, that's just cool. Now that looks like a mask, kind of like wrestlers would wear something kind of almost in the Oriental type culture. But yeah, that is just so awesome. I love that. Now let's just go ahead and pop off this belt. Let's just right quick see what it looks like. See, we got our normal new Eternia style belt. You see how that looks on the back. And I'm not going to take off this, but you can see it has your normal buck we've been getting. Like I said, it had the gauntlet, but it's looking really cool. So you can see how he looks without the belt. This is kind of a belt that is similar to the one that comes with Jitsu. That's what it reminds me, but this one's just looking a lot nicer, and it may be the same one, just painted differently with the addition of this on the side, which again is just so cool. But I am going to personally go ahead and leave that on. I think that it looks better with it, and it's very easy to put back on, as you see there. Just have to get it lined back up, centered, and he's got his nunchuck, so I just like it better with it on. So I'm leaving mine on for sure. And I really like that mask. That's my favorite mask right there. Yeah, that's going to be a cool disguise, or, you know, cool even in battle to wear to just intimidate his foes. I think that's just so neat. Just a high quality looking figure across the board. I just like it. Now, I will say that being that we have the sword that comes with the other guy, you could just about, if you wanted to, let's see, yep, you could even put both of those swords in that if you wanted to. That's just an idea. That's cool. Now, while we're at that, I'm going to go ahead and bring in this dude here, because he's got your average, you know, articulation of origins. No bicep swivel. We got elbow swivel. Regular style hands to articulation, but just really nice looking hands with the scales on it and the horns on this gauntlet. Nice chest armor as well with that same insignia and logo, a crest on there. Really nice shoulder pauldrons. Like I said, he's got this really cool spiky collar on, and then you can see here where you can plug these inside of there. Now, unfortunately, there had been some wondering about how could you put the wings on your Ninjor, and unfortunately, there's no place to plug these in. You'd have to figure out a way maybe to put this armor over it to do that, and we can check that out. But what I did want to do is go ahead and unplug this. You can see the type of ball joint that it has. Always, Origins always has a really nice ball joint that gets good articulation. But I'm going to go ahead and take this head sculpt, which did come with the extension. That was one of the accessories with the Turtles of Grayskull Ninjor dragon. But look at this. That is so cool. I love this head. And so what I wanted to do is go ahead and pop this off and go ahead and pop this on. As you know, Masterverse and Origins has the same style peg, which is really cool because check this out. He can actually get the lights right so you can see it good without it being too bright. But you can plug that on there and open that mouth, and you can have your Ninjor turn into the Ninjor Dragon, even in the Masterverse. That's right, you can do it even in the Masterverse. So I just love that. I think that is so cool. I just like that. And so see, you're going to be able to just continue to get the full range of motion there, and you can have fire breath coming out of there, whatever you wanted to do. You got both swords here, so that's just so cool. I mean, you can combine them together. Now, like I said, I don't think there's any way of attaching the wings here without modifying it, but hey, this is so cool just in and of itself. I like that, and we'll take some photos of that a little bit later as well. But let's go ahead now and do our Ninjor's articulation. All right, let's move our Ninjor on in here. Let me show you one other thing right quick before we get to articulation. You could, if you're not storing the sword, you can plug this little device part here that he holds onto up inside of the sword sheath part or loop and store his crossbow type device on his back. So that is another option, which just adds some more depth and coolness factor to this figure. But looking at his head articulation, he's going to be able to look up very well, gazing up there. He's going to be able to look down all the way, looking good there. He also, well, doesn't get really that much pivot, unfortunately. That's one thing I don't understand. Why can Origins get excellent pivot but Masterverse can't? It's just not there. I don't know why. But the head will turn side to side all the way around, of course. His arms will get full 360. He does have bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. He gets swivel and horizontal hinged at both wrists. Now, of course, he will get a full T-pose, and here is where you have this wrap and this gunmetal pewter almost color armor. Is it going to hinder? Let's see. He's still going to be able to crunch forward underneath there, because you can see it's right there, the brake, and you're going to be able to bend back about that much, so you still get a good range, and you're still going to be able to get side to side a little bit as well. Just going to have to move it underneath it. And of course, if you were to hold that, you would still be able to get that nice fluid tripod turn at the diaphragm, even though this armor's on, and then of course a swivel at the waist also. So that is excellent. And we're going to remove that chest armor in a moment, but let me show you that you're not going to be able to get complete full splits if you're having this on, because even though it's open, it just restricts a little bit. And then you do have the drop down method, as you can see up in here. It goes down and up, so you do have the drop down method, and you do have your thigh swivel, and of course you've got double jointed knees, which will go all the way to kick his lower back. You've got your boot cut, You're going to be able to get full tiptoes with those cool dragon claw style feet. You're going to be able to go up a pretty decent amount. You're also going to get excellent rockers with the peg hole on both feet. So this guy is just jacked with his, accessories, his articulation, his masks. The biggest complaint, I would give this guy a 10 if he had extra hands. I'm serious. I would have done it. But I'm going to give this guy a 9 because he's definitely just decked out. He looks good. He moves good. He has a really nice aesthetic. I just like every part of him from head to toe. These masks are just an extra bonus, as New Eternia always gives us, as you know, just, some extras to enjoy when it comes to this line. They always give just a little bit of a different flair on the character. They always do. But yes, just so nice. All right, let's go ahead and pop off this armor just quickly here. And it comes off fairly easy, so that's a good thing. Go ahead and pop off his head. And we're going to remove this just like so. And we're going to take the Turtles of Grayskull armor, and we're going to try to put it onto this buck. Now, as you know, because the origin style comes apart at the waist very easily, you see this slides right in place. So the only way to be able to get that on is we're going to have to come from the bottom, which means we're going to have to heat this up. So we'll be right back. All right, so it went on very nicely. I just heated up that piece, that lower piece, and slid it from the bottom all the way up past the loincloth, and then put this over, his shoulders and head area, and it plugs right in. A great fit. So yes, it does fit, and then you can leave the collar on, or you don't have to. And I'm going to go ahead and put this back on as well, because I just like this oriental ninja looking samurai type belt piece, rope piece thing with the skirt type thing, because it's able to keep his nunchucks holstered. And see, that still looks nice, still has the Ninjor piece there. Now for the best part of all, let's go ahead and pop the head back on there. Looking awesome. Just look at that. That is looking cool. And now you can even put on the wings because of the holes on the back. So let's go ahead and pop those back on there. Get them in place. And because of the mystic powers of Ninjor, he is able to call on the powers of the dragon of dark smoke and turn himself from being a dangerous, lethal samurai ninja type Ninjor, a ninja, into the dragon ninja lord. And that is just cool. Take a look at that. That is so neat. Dynamic. Let's go ahead and put his red sword in his hand here, because he can use that Ninjor, that Turtles of Grayskull Ninjor sword as well. There we go. And if you wanted to do the other one, you certainly could. We might as well go all the way, hadn't we? If you're going to do it all the way. And let's go ahead and cross those in front of him here. Open his mouth, and there you have an awesome Ninjor dragon. Isn't that so cool? Awesome. And there's 2 points of articulation. You have one, which was where it plugs in, and then you have that metal piece right there where it will hinge right there, and you can get different poses. Kind of look like those wings have folded up like so on the bottom, like that. Or you can make them go all the way up like so. Or, that one fell off. Or you can meet the 2 pieces at the bottom there to make them look fully spread out. And that's, I think, the way he's going to look the nicest right there. Just take a look at that. Cool. Awesome. Okay. So now you know it works. Now let's do some comparisons. And the first comparison we're going to do is our Masterverse Ninjor versus our Classics Ninjor. And I'm telling you, this one is not as clear cut as you might think. You remember I said that the Terraclaw Skeletor definitely knocked the Classics right on out of the park with his details, especially those Terraclaws and his helmet and everything and his accessories. I really like that Terraclaw Skeletor, and I do love the masks. Don't get me wrong, these masks are epic. The sword is epic. The crossbow thing is epic. The fact that you got a chain on the nunchucks. But I have to say, I just don't know, because that face sculpt on this Ninjor by the Classics is so detailed. You got the wrinkles in the face, the nose, those eyes look so realistic. That cloth on his mouth, look at the wrinkles in that matte finish. That sword on that emblem looks like it could be actually pulled out. It's molded in, but it looks like it could be removed. And just the details on this chest armor is just phenomenal, just wicked. And then look at this belt piece and the rope that goes around it. I mean, wow. Compared to this one, it makes that one look amateur, I think. I may have to give the win as far as aesthetics to this Ninjor. Got the little tassel coming off to the side here. Yeah, aesthetically, I think I'd have to give the win to this guy, but accessories and articulation, Masterverse wins out. New Eternia wins out. He definitely has the accessories with those masks and the sword and everything. But yeah, this thing is just... this is a classic. Got those same kind of gloves and same kind of feet. Whereas with the Masterverse New Eternia, the feet were painted in silver. So I like that, to give that to them. And again, the articulation is excellent on the Masterverse compared to these. But just the look of this Ninjor, I give the aesthetic win to this one. Classics, I think, inches out a win on here. Just from that perspective. That's my opinion. All right. And here's our Ninjor next to our Masterverse Jitsu. Now, I know in the bio with Masterverse, they said he's a good guy, but I don't know. I still remember him as a bad guy from his bio card in Classics and his backstory of being the one that sat on the throne of Snake Mountain, so it's hard for me to see him as a good guy. He also came with a mask. I'm not that crazy over that. It only covers his mouth and his mustache, basically. But he has that iconic gold large hand and the karate chopping shape there. Kind of, you know, reminiscent of almost an opposite of Fisto. But then we also have from Thundercats, Super 7's Hachiman. And this is Hachiman in his supercharged form with his helmet and his icon on his chest. And there he is with the samurai sword itself, the Thunder Cutter, which was a powerful, from the Orient, sword with powers. It was not just a ninja sword, but it was a sword that could be charged with supernatural power. So Hachiman and the Thunder Cutter are looking good next to our Ninjor. He is a little smaller, but that's okay. But I think these are looking great together. Getting our ninjas together here, looking awesome. And here is our Hordak from the Revolution series. I think he looks really nice next to this Ninjor, because he definitely would call upon Ninjor. I can see him doing it anyway to help him and his horde, evil horde. And then there is Terraclaw Skeletor, also in this Wave 17. We've already reviewed him if you want to check that review out. But yes, they are looking awesome together here. This Ninjor is just impressive. I'm loving this wave. And it was really going to be between our Skeletor here or Ninjor as going to be my favorite figure. This is a really close tie here almost, but I am going to inch out and give the win to Ninjor, simply because of those masks and all of his accessories and just how cool he looks. I'm giving the win in this way for me to Ninjor, but I really do like this Skeletor also. He is just impressive. So liking that. And I was going to mention to you as well before we go that one of the interesting things about this Turtles of Grayskull Ninjor is those legs and arms are translucent. I thought that was pretty interesting. They're see-through. So that is a pretty cool note to mention. But you know pretty much the articulation and the way they come apart if you're familiar with Origins. And just the added articulation of the mouth here is just really cool. But the reason I got this, guys, I can use, and that's the reason I did order me another one of those. I've not gotten it in yet, but I'll have one like that. I may even get another one so I can have the masks going on. But the second one, I'm going to definitely put on this chest armor and these wings and this head, because that is just too cool for school, and I want to be able to have one Ninjor like that. All right, thank you so much for joining us for this Super Dave review. Come back and see us again soon. We've enjoyed this one. Can't wait to see what's coming up next down the pike. But until next time, we'll see you. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you have something to share. Be blessed. Here's some photos in the photo gallery.